Thanks, everyone. It's really lovely to be here and talk about this. I feel it's such a special part of the filmmaking process and so valuable. And I wanted to start off having been on the other side of the market side, having, especially with Striker Rock, with my first film, I was very, very new, very green, really just wanting to meet people to see if I can get it financed. I was at a place in the film where I hadn't received much funding, and I was desperate to finish the film. And I felt, I feel so passionately about this film. Why does no one else feel passionately about the film? You get to a stage where you just you just need that support and that connection, and the support of filmmakers and mentors and funding parties and decision makers. But I never knew how to access it. So my first Durban Film Festival, when I first came down, before I was involved in any of the Durban Film Mart and the talents, it's very stressful because you're trying to email decision makers cold. You have a list of people, and they've all already preset meetings with the official projects, and they're very, very, very busy. And there I am, emailing them, asking them for like a little bit of their time, or trying to meet them at lunch, or when they just want to have a meal. So it becomes very stressful. And then transitioning after, being in the industry for a bit of time, and figuring out what the opportunities available, was a completely different experience. It's just so amazing when you're selected to be an official selection as part of the Film Mart or the Talents or any other, mart across the world. It elevates you and your project to another level where you don't have to fight so hard, which I think was very, very was just an amazing feeling, to be able to feel, okay, like these people believe in what I'm doing as much as the team believes in it, and they vet you and they're behind you, and they support you. And so for me, I was part of the Durban Film Mart in 2019, Durban Talents in 2018. We're going to be part of Film Mart again this year. I know it was postponed, so it'll be in next month. But for me, the greatest thing was, yes, the funding, the decision makers that you get to meet, the networking. It's often people who you'll see at other marts across the world. So we were also part of Sheffield, a meat market last month, and some of the decision makers will again be at Durban. So your project can just kind of solidify more in people's minds, because you're going to see them again and they start to recognize you or your project, and that's very useful. But what I found actually the most valuable thing were the other projects that you meet in this process, your fellow colleagues and filmmakers. I mean, Lungi will know our Durban Talents in 2018. I mean, it was just the most incredible group of African filmmakers. We still have a WhatsApp group. If we always sending each other opportunities, and even if someone needs assistance in a certain country, they're there. And that network is probably the most invaluable thing. You also get to grow with each project. You get to see how the projects develop over time, projects that you pitched with, and then you see in a year or 2 years or 3 years sometimes, they're premiering. And it's just such an amazing way to kind of build this network of filmmakers. Another thing that I think I just also wanted to mention was that the one thing about film marts is that for me is one of the most valuable things with decision makers, and something that I didn't realize right in the beginning. I thought, okay, I can pitch, and then someone is going to say, at your pitch, here's a wad of money, finish your film, like, doesn't work like that. But I'm actually glad it doesn't. You often your follow-up game has to be very strong. After you've pitched, you get the interest, and that's the beauty of it. You get the interest from people. You get to have one-on-one meetings, which is also invaluable, because I think sometimes when you pitch, you can get nervous, or you might not have said everything you wanted to say, or it goes very well, but you don't manage to get into the nitty-gritty because it's not the forum. And then you have the one-on-one meetings. And I think it's also good to manage expectations and to say it's not like funders are going to say at that meeting, yes, we're going to fund you and we're going to give you the grant. It's a relationship building exercise. And I think that that's very important. And that's something that I learned throughout the process as well. So that for me was also helpful, because the whole experience is about relationships. It's about networking with fellow filmmakers and also with decision makers. And it's elevating your project to another level so that people take notice. And that's great. You don't have to be cold emailing people all the time or attacking them at lunch or breakfast to talk to them. It's almost like a space is carved out for you. And I think that's the most valuable thing. And then you have a better chance of getting into another market because you have the experience or the backing of something else. Also, what was amazing at the Durban Film Arts that I haven't experienced and the talents in any other market around the world was this mentorship that happens. You get your own mentor, and that mentor helps you package your pitch, helps you package even just your film, how you're going to talk about it, how you're going to navigate it, how you're going to navigate questions, how do you make it the best it can be. And that's very special. And that's something that Durban does that I haven't experienced elsewhere. And very hands-on and really giving you the time. So yeah, that's been my experience. I think I'll stop now. But yeah, I'll answer any questions anyone wants to ask at a later stage.
Thank you so much, Aliki. We're going to take questions at the end. Let's move now to Bonnie Sithebe. Bonnie is an award-winning director, producer. She's the co-founder of Durban Motion Pictures, a production company that has seen 15 years producing large scales of films and projects screened at various broadcasters, screened at the Durban Film Festival, also being renowned for churning out more than 80 highly successful television films and short films. Bonnie's debut film was selected and pitched at the Durban Film Arts and has later been funded by KZN FC and NFBF. Her credits include working as a storyline and writer on the popular drama series for ETV Imbewu. In 2019, she served as a board member and treasurer in a women's organization, Sister Working in Film and Television. She's an enthusiastic collaborator who has established very strong relationships with the industry leaders. I met Bonnie. She was a Talents Durban mentor when I met her back in 2017 or 16. So she's been a very vital part of the Durban Film International Festival, the Durban Film Arts, the Talents Durban. And previously to that, she was a talent herself. I think that's where it all began. So I'll let Bonnie just take us through her journey and unpack as much as she can on where she started and where she is with the programs that the Durban Film Arts and Talents Durban provide. Thank you. You're on mute, Bonnie. Can you unmute yourself?
Okay, good now? Okay, awesome. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Lungile. I'm also excited to see other filmmakers. I mean, it's been a very tough few years. We haven't met in person. Just a bit disappointed that this year we're still not meeting at the actual Devon Film Arts. Okay, so basically my journey has been very interesting. Like I remember I was one of the first talents when it launched in Durban. The experience was amazing. I mean, like sometimes I do feel like a guinea pig in a lot of things because I'm always like the first person to attend. Again, I think the advantage for me is being from Durban. I was just looking at my journey with the Durban Film Arts. I've never missed a year. Like every single year, I would be there. And when I started attending the markets, it was basically I was very young as a filmmaker. I hadn't really made any film. Look, my experience is mainly on television, short films, and I was really emerging and wanted to learn about growing bigger as a producer, director, writer. So even though I can't remember my first experience at the markets, but I had a different experiences each year. And every year was a learning experience and a growing experience. And I guess for me, the challenge is then when I started attending the markets was, I remember there was always these closed sessions that we were not allowed to be part of. And and I was like, but how do we be part of this closed session? What's happened in there? You know, the curiosity of it felt like there was just this elite people that were my first experience at the markets, but I had in the corner different experiences. But then obviously year. I got to understand every year was a learning experience, how the market worked. And obviously that was my first market as a filmmaker as well. So and then I was already developing my first feature film, which eventually in 2016 it was selected by the Devon Film Arts. And that's where I got to be part of the closed sessions. I was like, oh, finally I'm in these closed sessions. And it was amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing to meet a lot of people. I mean, I had already met people through other previous years, but now you start meeting people that you've seen from the distance, and then now you can actually sit with them on the table and have a conversation with them with your project. Something interesting that Alec just mentioned about initially you think once your project is in there, somebody's going to sit with you and say, wow, I'm going to give you money, you can make your film. But then I learned as well that it doesn't happen like that. It is a process. It's a relationship that you need to start building with the person that you meet at the markets. So for me, having my film selected got me an opportunity to meet different distributors because I was looking for partners, international partners, because my film, my aim with my film was really to have it travel as far as it can. So I've made a lot of contacts during the year, which I still have. And what's more exciting is that I just shot the film this year. I shot my film that was selected at the Film Arts. And during that time, I remember when the film was selected and I had all these mentors that helped me to pitch the story, that helped me to actually make it internationally viable. I sat down after that because I had still writing the script, still looking for development, and everything that I got, all the advice that I received, I was able to implement in the script. And eventually, a year later, I got funding for the film from the Film Commission from the NEVF. And eventually the film had been shot this year. So I'm very excited because I had kept all those contacts that I received from the Film Arts to actually now go back to them and share the actual film and the inputs that they put into it. And I'm happy with the film, and I'm sure they'll be proud to have been part of that process. So it had been really, really amazing to be part of these programs. And I think having started from making a self-taught film to now able to know how to pitch for an international film, the Devon Film Arts and the talent had been really helpful to be part of the process. don't miss any workshops if I can go to it, because not all of us had an opportunity to go to the film school, and I never went to a film school. But being part of these workshops, meeting different filmmakers, learning from these other filmmakers, seeing what they do has grown me into a filmmaker that feels confident, to now make a film. And also, like, I've not just been to this market, I've been to other markets, and having to head start with the Durban Film Arts made me more confident to actually travel to other markets. And the confidence showed in now the project that I've made. So so what I took away from all these markets definitely is how to communicate better with funders, how to tell your story in a way that that they will love it. I mean, I had really, really good reviews, and I'm just excited. I'm just at the moment where I feel that I've grown through, as a producer, writer, director, I've grown and my career has grown. And I'm looking forward to going back into these markets again and share my experience, and also share with other filmmakers. I've worked with a lot of young filmmakers that still also don't understand how the DFM works, and I like to share their experience with them, because everybody thinks when you go to the DFM, it's like, this is where you're going to get your film funded. But that's not necessary. It's for you to learn how to grow your film, how to make your film sellable, how to meet people that can help you take your film to where you want to take it. Look, I can talk the whole day, but I think this is a really great platform for me, had been, and I'm looking forward to meet you guys again, hopefully next year in person. And pitch more films at their Film Arts. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. I'm seeing there's people with trouble of audio. I don't know if everyone is having that problem, or is everyone fine? We'll just continue. We have next 40, who is an award-winning filmmaker and owner of Mogale Pictures, a production company that is driven by the Pan-African movement and African feminism to validate the experiences and emotions of African women. The business is supported by the 2021 Hub at the Gutha Institution to create documentaries, fictional films and visual reality content with the support of 2021 Digital Lab Africa. She's a Durban Talent alumnus. She was here in the year 2015 and a Durban Film Arts alumni from 2019, where she won Most Promising Film Award for her projects on Black women and sex. She went on to win 2 other awards with the same projects, the Development Award for the Best Female Director by Saxon States Minister and Zonta Club Female Talent Development Prize for the DOK. She has served as a board member of the Writers Guild of South Africa. Khadi, let's take it away.
Hi, everyone. It's so nice to see everyone again. I miss you guys so much. I wish we were doing this in person. Okay, I'll start with my experience at Talents Durban. I came to the Durban International Film Festival in 2014. That was the year I graduated and I wasn't a part of a program. And it was very unstructured and I didn't get much out of it because I was very new in the film industry and I wasn't being directed how to start. So I share what Aliki was saying about being green and like not being able to get anything out of it because you just don't know people and you don't know where to start. You're cold emailing people. It was just frustrating. And in 2015, I got into Talents Durban, and that was an entirely different experience. The one thing I got out of it was networking. we went into all of these networking events where you really got to know people. And that was the biggest takeaway, because that's where, you can actually have a conversation with people and actually start to pitch. And I got to know African filmmakers. I didn't know what other African filmmakers were doing in other parts of the continent. And it was so interesting. I remember I met this guy from Ghana who was telling me about female genital mutilation in his country. And that was the first time I ever heard of it. And he was telling me about sex and how women aren't allowed to get pleasure from sex. And if a clit is the only its only function in a female body is pleasure, then that's why they cut it out. And that is actually the thing that inspired me to make Black Women and Sex, because it just stayed, that conversation at Talents Durban stayed with me for maybe a year, and then that's when I started to wonder how South African women like related to sex, how Black women think about sex in relation to tradition and religion and society. And that's what made me make my first film, developed my first film. And then I came back to Durban for the Durban Film Mart in 2019. But before that, what I really liked about Talents Durban is the fact that you become like such a big part of the Berlinale talents, like the international Berlinale talents. I can see all the women on the panel were with us at Swift. We had a 20-woman delegation when we went to the Berlin International Film Festival in 2018. And I remember, because I was a talent in 2015, I emailed them and I said, look, I'm a part of Talent. Can you get us into some of the networking events? And they really did. They got all 20 of us into networking events at Berlinale. So not only are you a part of this program for a year, but you can continue to benefit from it, like in years to come. And then in 2019, I came back for DFM with Black Women and Sex. And I was with Aliki on that program. So it was wonderful. The one thing that I also really love about it is all the content that is being developed, and you can see through these mentorship programs, you get to intimately know people's projects and why they're making them and where they are in that project. And then you see them premiering, and then you see them like coming to life, and it's just the most amazing thing to see. It's so inspiring. It also helps you with like techniques. You see how people are making their films and are communicating, cinematically, and it's just inspiring. And it was just such a wonderful experience. And then I won the award. I was very nervous about pitching. So the only thing I was actually just worried about is getting through my pitch. And the fact that I was only worried about getting through my pitch, but then what I got at the end of the day was people that are interested in my film, people, the opportunity to go to Doc Leipzig in Germany and win more awards there and get a whole new community of international filmmakers I was just focused on the pitch, but I got so much out of it. And I can't stress it enough. It was worthwhile experiences. And like what Bonnie said about these closed sessions, you just feel like a VIP. You just you can come in and out, and all the feedback. Because my film is very like stylistic, the way that I tried to do it, very art house. So people came to me during DFM about also considering making it like a virtual reality project. And last year I started to develop it again as a virtual reality project. And this year I'm back at DFM with Digital Lab Africa to pitch the virtual reality on it. Thank you. That's all. That's all I have.
Congratulations, and thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing more of your work. We'll move on now to Sarah. Sarah is a director, very passionate about telling authentic, emotional, compelling stories, and serious about continually mastering her craft as a filmmaker. She holds a master's degree in documentary film production and has a wide range of experience in television and film production. Sarah's documentary, Black People Don't Get Depressed, was developed at the Durban Talents 2020 and won an award for further mentoring through DFM partner, International Emerging Talent Association. The project has since gone to participate at Cannes Film Festival and the Berlinale in Germany. Sarah, it's your turn now, so let's hear from you. Thank you.
Thanks, Lungile, and I think thanks to all the colleagues and peers who've spoken before. It's really nice to see all of you, and like Bonnie and Khudi said, it would be awesome to be in Durban right now. It's freezing in Joburg today. But really, I think to echo what everybody's been saying about the mentorship, I don't think my project would have been here if it wasn't for, really having, first of all, the backing of Durban Talents from last year. And it feels like a long time. I think also because of lockdown adds a lot of other things that are happening just in terms of our lives. But taking part in Durban Talents for me was the first time taking part in such a capacity building thing for film since after graduating. And the mentor that I had was really strong and influential in really instilling in me a confidence that I didn't have before. Because I've worked primarily in the background and funding for film. It was my first time actually coming out and being creative and exposing myself. And it's quite a vulnerable subject. So the mentorship I got at Durban Talents really, really helped me just in terms of pushing myself to have confidence to push the project further. So after Durban Talents, like you mentioned, we managed to create really a beautiful and strong pitch deck, which I don't think I would have been able to do if I hadn't gone through the process. So just giving us those skills in terms of being able to pitch, being able to articulate your project and make it sellable to international markets, make it appealing to producers from international, other campuses and other film festivals that you otherwise would not have been able to access was for me one of the biggest takeouts. So the mentorship that we got beyond Durban Talents, winning the EFTA Award or the International Emerging Film Talent Award was really, really helpful in getting us to Berlinale, getting us to Cannes, which we just did last week. And what that does, or what it's done for the project, is really assist us in terms of getting an international co-producer on board now. So this is all from the network that was built during Durban Talents. And like Aliki, we still have a WhatsApp group where we speak to other people. Sometimes you need a photographer in a country, you need a subject in a certain country. And that network is really strong in terms of being able to come through for you. And they also have your project in the back of their minds when they're in other pitching forums or when they're meeting other people and they're able to refer you to those other opportunities. So for me, really, it was really good to be able to structure my project in a way that is professional, structure my project in a way that is able to articulate exactly what it's trying to do, and also think about what the impact campaign is going to be of the project. So these are just some of the things that I've learned being part of Durban Talents. And just in terms of other opportunities, I think apart from the international platforms that it's been able to get us onto, is just introducing yourself in a way that is professional even to your peers, being able to introduce yourself or have people believe in you even if you're not in the room because you have a professional project that you can showcase. So for me, that's what I've taken away from it. It's just being able to position myself, professionalize what I'm offering, and also build a network of people that are supportive. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. We'll now move on to our final panelist, Vusi Africa. Vusi is a 2019 Durban Talent alumni with an honors degree in motion picture production from Tshwane University of Technology. Vusi has various films under his belt. He has worked, his work has been broadcasted by Starsets, which reaches out across Southern and Eastern Sub-Saharan Africa. The 32-year-old filmmaker debuted Letters of Hope in competition for the 40th Durban Talent Film Festival. The feature film was awarded Best Artistic Bravery. After his critical success with Letter of Hope, he received the Best Emerging Filmmaker at the SAFTA in 2020. Vusi, over to you.
Yeah, hi everyone. Hi ladies, hi Lungi. And thank you so much, for the opportunity to actually share my experience, particularly with labs and development programs. I graduated in 2017 from TT, as you've said, and I think when I graduated, I sort of wanted to go into the directing space. I didn't want to sort of shadow, to sort of, build my way up from down at the bottom, but I sort of wanted to just, work on my scripts, work on the work that I'm more passionate about, in terms of my directorial direction, and I think when I learned about Durban Talents, when one of my colleagues or one of my former classmates was there, Tumelo Dope. When I learned about talents from him, I did my own research, to sort of discover, what talents is, and I sort of, started reading on about the alumni, and all these decorated filmmakers, the Sean Drummonds of the world, there's so many, filmmakers that, that have gone through talent, and many of them have got Oscars, if we're speaking about Berlin Talents and all the other talents, associations across, Tokyo, Beirut, wherever in the world where you go, where talent exists, it's just been a sort of a hub, for great filmmakers to actually come out. And if you look at their track record, all the filmmakers that came out of talent, they're breaking boundaries everywhere in their space. It doesn't matter whether they're in documentary, whether they're in animation, whether they're in fiction, but they are really, really breaking boundaries. So for me, I think that information kind of, became a fire starter, to say that, okay, maybe there could be something here, with this program. It's not an easy program to get into. One has to say that, because it's one of those elite programs that you really, really, have to give it your all. And I think it has to be with that one project that you genuinely believe in, and you feel as if it has a long way to go. And I think for me, the project that got me into talent, it's a project that I'm still working on currently right now. It's called The Killing of a Beast, and because we always looking for the easiest way to making a film as filmmakers, the quickest way to get into a film. But it's unfortunate because there's no easy way or there's no quickest way to get into a film, especially being a new filmmaker, like myself, coming into an industry that is so very much closed off or so very much, operating a clandestine kind of a way, makes it a very, very much a bit difficult, for anybody new to really sort of break in. But I think that labs actually, they kind of balance the scales, in terms of assisting to usher in new talent, because the industry is so experience centered. What film did you make previously? What experience do you have? And it's all those questions that are daunting, that are pushed back incoming filmmakers from actually entering the space because they don't have that that type of experience that is required for them to make their first feature film. But however, labs they give you the access, to realize your project, by giving you first things first credibility. I think we can all agree that once a project gets to a lab, it has credibility. There's some credibility that is attached, to that project, and that is credibility that you cannot buy, with any money. It's credibility that, as Sarah has mentioned, that it can take you from Piana, it can take you from Berlinale, it can take you to the Cannes, it can take you to Toronto, it can take you to Sundance, just by the fact that your film was at Durban Talents, So I think it's that credibility for me. I think one thing that that really stood out, that the credibility that the project has, the fact that it's being developed there, and I think the most important thing also is the access to the other markets. Because as a new filmmaker, you don't know what other markets are there. You don't know about Biennale, Cinema College. You don't know about all these things that you don't know about EFTA. You don't know about all these things that exist in the corners of the hidden corridors of filmmaking. You don't know about those things. It takes a lot of years, for you to really get a hang of that entire catalog into your head. But I think labs are sort of like a bridge, or a hack. Let me call them that. Sort of like a hack. To just bypassing some of the time that you'd have to spend, in order for you to actually learn the ropes and understand how the game is played. And I think the most important thing also is access to renowned editors. These are opinions that you cannot afford on your own. Even if you have 200,000 rand, you wouldn't be able to afford Jeremy Dubois as a script editor. You still have to have a way lot more money, in order for you to be able to pay him. But labs actually afford you expensive opinion for free. These are internationally recognized script doctors, experienced, editors who've seen it all, who've had it all, and they've been at every corner of the world in terms of film festival. They know what the market is looking for, and they know what's new and what is not new, and they can really tell if your project is really coming up with something special. If there's a different voice, there's a unique identity, or body of work that you are trying to speak to. They can be able to identify, those elements. And unlike, the mainstream circuit, or maybe, off-circuit, mainstream circuit, I'm speaking about the television circuit particularly, where work has to be commercial. It just has to be commercial, and I think labs allow the room, for art films, to exist. For art films to be developed, for art films, to be nurtured, and I think that there's such a very important part of the filmmaking space in the world, because that is where we experience and we speak about critical issues, because other than that, those films wouldn't get made, they wouldn't exist because they are not commercial enough. They don't have the commercial viability. I think that is why today we've got films like, it's not a burial, it's a resurrection. A film that wouldn't have either existed if it wasn't for labs. And today it's a very, very art house film. Very, very art center. But because of the fact that there are labs, those films can exist, and they can have a place in this saturated market. And I think for me, every story has to die and be born again, for it to reach its full potential. It doesn't matter how good you think the story is. It must die and be born again. It has to happen, to every story, and your story can only die and be born again, with critical input, that can come into it, and sometimes, you can get input, from editors, around. You can get input from your friends, but there's that input that that changes the beats of the story. There's that input that it just, it changes the turning points of the story. It takes the story from one place and it takes it to a completely different level, and you can only get that input at labs, because at labs, the story circulates. You're speaking to 3, 4, 5 people, you're speaking to your peers, you're speaking to the editors, you're speaking to the mentors. There's a whole network of filmmakers that's around you, who are throwing chips, spines and into the wax in order for them to develop your story, and it is in that moment when your story, dies and it's born again, and it becomes better, it grows, it elevates. With the current project that I'm working on, The Killing of the Beast, I've been to 5 labs in a space of 2 years. I did Talents in 2019 and with Sean Drummond, and I did Jumpstart in 2020 with Jeremy Du Bois and Gualame, and I did Jets in 2021. And I did FWF in 2021 also, and now I'm at Devon Film Mart with the same project called The Killing of a Beast. So I've been working on this project for quite some time, and it's not I've got a great project, and I'm at Jumpstart, and here's money, and go shoot, go make the movie. It's really a development process. But what I've enjoyed about this whole journey of 3-4 years of development is that the script has changed so many times. The script has changed so many times. And in each lab, it's a different change. In each lab, it's a different change. In each lab, it's a different change. And for me, it has brought the project to a world-class state, because this is not the script that I came in with at Talent in 2019 anymore. It's a completely different script, even though it's still the same title, same characters, same inciting incident, but the body of work and the contribution that has gone into that body of work has ensured that it develops, into a world-class screenplay. I'm currently working with the National Film and Video Foundation and further developing the script. Further now, hopefully, we can now get into the financing level, because the script has been in development for, I can say, 4 years now. And I'm still looking forward, to going to more labs. I'm anticipating maybe I can go to, I don't know, maybe Sundance or wherever, the story can take me. But I'm still looking forward, to maybe, just doing one more lab, and to just sort of, to just sort of lay that final, touch on the script before we can get into the financing stage and eventually go into production. But for me, I think it's a process about growth. You have to be open to growing. You have to be ready to be killed. Because you die and you resurrect. You must be like a phoenix. Once they burn you, wake up from your ashes. Wake up strong again. And it's that process. And I think it is the only place where new filmmakers can actually have the chance to actually find their feet and start exploring their work properly, because it's so hard to break into the industry and everybody keeps asking, how do you get in? How do you get in? Labs take long to get your film made. It take you about 3-4 years through labs to get your film made. But trust you me, without labs, it could take you 10 years. To get your project made. So labs are the quickest way to getting your films made, even though they are the longest way. They are really, it's a long try, really, honestly. But they are the quickest. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, it's, it is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, no, thanks, Lumi. I think that's it for me.
Thank you so much, Vusi. That was very insightful. We have 10 minutes left of the session, and we're going to open up to some questions from those who are attending. I see we have one from a Thuli who is asking, what does it take to be part of the lab? So I think let's just get a quick one from our panelists on what it took. Let me ask you, Aliki, to just give a rundown of what it took for you to be part of the Durban Talents and the DFM.
Sure. Just keep trying. Just apply. apply to everything you can. You know, there's so many resources available that let you know when the labs are. You know, sign up to film festivals that you're interested in, sign up to their newsletters. They often have a lab or a mart associated with them. And keep trying to just keep applying and keep applying with your project the next year if you didn't get in, you know, because invariably it would have developed a bit more and it would have grown more, and then do it. And don't feel discouraged if you don't get in. It doesn't mean that your project is any less good than anyone else's. I think I needed to hear that when I first started, you know. Often it's just the way that you're writing your material. Get some assistance, you know, from people. Say, how does this read to you? Does this make sense to you? Even when you're applying, because unfortunately you can't be in the room with the you know, the people making the decisions on who gets a part to be an official project. So you have to allow the material to speak for itself, and so that has to be as strong as it possibly can, and that is a process. And you learn with every new application that you do. So just keep applying. I mean, with my first film, I must have had about 35 applications, and I maybe got 3, you know, in the end, successful in terms of labs or funding or whatever. And the film did very well around the world. So don't let that measure your confidence, but at the same time, just keep trying and keep applying and say, okay, next time I'll just make it stronger, or I'll make it stronger. So you just do your research as to what kind of labs as well will suit you. There's not a one you know, glove fits all. So just look and see what's available out there and keep going.
Thank you so much, Aliki. I don't see any other questions, but I'm hoping if others have questions, they'll raise their hands and ask questions. But maybe let's hear from one other panelist on the question Tuli has asked, and maybe just a bit on what you're working on for the year 2021. I see Aliki has done quite a lot when it comes to getting her projects. Even with the lockdown, what's more frustrating? What are you guys doing? And just that experience, what it has been like while we wait for more questions. Anyone can say first.
Well, I'll have a go. I think just to echo Aliki's sentiments to Tuli's questions in terms of the tenacity it takes to be a filmmaker, you need a lot of patience. You need to be quite resilient, just in terms of the number of no's you're going to get. So just knowing that the story you want to tell and the importance of why you have to tell it is what keeps you going. So tell stories that are important to you. Tell stories that are authentic. Tell stories that mean something and that will change something about your own life or the lives of those around you. So if you're working on something that you know is important and feels like a reason you're alive at that moment, you're going to keep going until you get the yes that you require. So be tenacious. Don't be afraid to ask for help from other people in the industry. There's lots of industry bodies. Writers Guild of South Africa, Sisters Working in Film and Television. There's lots of people who are willing to help if you ask. And that's what I'm busy working with a lot, especially with Swift, mentoring a lot of young people, just in terms of comms and in terms of filmmaking. So that's another way of being able to grow your network, offer something so that someone can offer you something back. And people really like to work with people they like. People like to work with people they feel adding some sort of value, not only to them, but to others. So create networks, find ways in which you can be a part, even if it's not the big mainstream part of the film industry, but have your allies and have people who can give you advice. And really, for me, I think that's all that it takes. Have an authentic story, have something important to say, and something that is meaningful to you. I found lockdown very challenging. I'm sure like a lot of other people, some days I feel like I don't even want to get out of bed. But the bills need to be paid, so you carry on working. But it's also been an inspiring time because suddenly you have all this time to be still. You have all this time to listen to what's actually going on with yourself. So it's also been something to push me to work and something to create an urgency as to why I need to do things. So it's also been a time of productivity as well. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. I think let's hear from Fadi as well on the frustrations of the lockdown and what she's working toward and what she's bringing to the DFM this year as well. Let's just hear a bit. We have 3 minutes in the session. So let's just use that time because I see we don't have any more questions from the people attending.
The frustrations with the lockdown, I share everybody's sentiments with being able to be still. I've been very creative in this lockdown. I've been writing a lot. I'm also in development with the NWA for a film called Queen Mojaji. I was planning on making a film about the only dynasty in South Africa, and then just my luck, it changes, and they announce a man to lead the tribe for the first time in 400 years. So it's been like a thing where I'm in early development, but I have to start shooting because these things are happening now, and I'm never going to get that footage again. So I've been traveling to Zanin a lot to shoot for Queen Mojaji. And also, I'm in pre-production for Black Women and Sex. I pitched in Paris, New Images Festival for the VR project for Black Women and Sex. So that's also fully developed. It's frustrating. Like I want money now to just finish this project because I feel like I've been doing it forever. But it's been fun. It's been a great process. I've also been in development for a new film. It's called Women Who Murdered Their Husbands. It's inspired by a photo exhibition that I saw at an art gallery. It's called Feminism Yamang, and the photo exhibition was actually made in 2005, and I'm working with the photographer to turn it into a film. So yeah, it's exciting. I've gotten to work a lot in this lockdown. I've gotten to write a lot.
Thank you so much for availing yourself this morning and for sharing all that wealth of knowledge that you've received from other Talents Durban and from the DFM. We are very hopeful that next year we'll see each other again. So we'll keep hoping that we can come to Durban and experience this on a live platform. I'd like to thank everyone who tuned in, to everybody who's doing work. We hope that it will be successful, and that when you come to DFM, to those who are coming to DFM, visually, of course, that it will be a successful part of your journey, and that you just continue doing the great work that you are doing and telling the authentic stories that you are telling and just putting South Africa on the map. Thank you so much. Keep warm, keep safe, and have a good one. Thank you so much to our sponsors and the Durban Film Marts, Talents Durban, and the Durban Film Festival for having us. Thank you so much. That's it for me. Bye.
Thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Lungi. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Aditi.
Bye.